All right, welcome back, True Seeker. Want to go over some of the latest headlines. It's Thursday, September 2nd, 2021, 7 days from the new NFL season beginning. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers will host the first game of the season because they're defending champs. And in the headlines, you have the death of a former Tampa Bay Buccaneer, Keith McCants, dead at 53. And today I did the Patreon live stream talking about football before this news broke, and again, just teaching new people about the significance of the number 53, why there's a 53-man roster in the NFL, where this number gets its significance, and it's in the language of gematria, which means geometry and language, because in sacred geometry, the shape of the football is known as the Vesica Pisces, and in gematria, both Vesica Pisces and Tampa, Florida equal 53. So you have this former Tampa star dead at 53, 1 week before the season opener. His birthday is April 19th. He's dead September 2nd. Today was his 137th day of his age. Tampa Bay is 137. And the other thing is April 19th is the 109th day of the year. 109 is the 29th prime number, and today can be written 2/9. Football equals 29. Football 29. So the other thing that's funny is if you watched my football live stream today, I talked about Mobile, Alabama, and the state of Alabama. Mobile has one of the nation's 27 Jesuit universities. We've been talking about that town a lot this year. There's been some suspicious hip-hop deaths. The Secretary of Defense for the U.S. military, he's from Mobile, Alabama. This man's from Mobile, Alabama, Keith McCants. Mobile has that gematria 56. Like Society of Jesus, this NFL season will conclude with Super Bowl 56. What's interesting about Alabama as well is Alabama in Jewish gematria equals 56. Mobile's 56 when you just use the alphabetic order. M's 13, O's 15, B's 2, I's 9, L's 12, E's 5, just using the alphabetic order. But, yeah, the same stuff like clockwork year after year with sports as the seasons are getting underway, former players are dying, oftentimes, names that were well remembered at the time but have been forgotten because they were in the league decade or two ago. It's sick. And by the way, also today on the news, on the same day of the news of him being dead at 53, the Bucs become the second team in the NFL to become fully vaccinated from COVID. The first was the Atlanta Falcons in Atlanta, where the CDC is. Both teams in the NFC South. But the thing about that is COVID has the gematria of 53 too. So a former Buccaneers dead at 53 the day the Bucs get fully vaccinated 1 week before the season begins. You know what I mean? Rituals. And there's the gematria of Tampa, Florida, and Vesica Pisces. If you're new here, the way that works is V is the 22nd letter, but you take the numerology of 22. 2 plus 2 is 4, so V becomes 4. E, the 5th letter, is 5. S, the 19th letter, the numerology of 19 is 1 plus 9 is 10. 1 plus 0 is 1, so S goes from 19 to 1. I's 9, C's 3, A's 1. P, the 16th letter, becomes 1 plus 6 is 7. You just make each letter a single-digit number, then you add up the word. Vesica Pisces, 53, like Tampa, Florida. COVID's 53 when you just use the alphabetic order. C's the 3rd letter, O's the 15th, V's the 22nd. Again, gematria, very simple. When you learn it, you really see through the rituals. And, yeah, it's sick how they just do this over and over and over. And I'm here every year and season and just exposing it all the time. And, I mean, where's the Joe Rogans of the world? I thought they're trying to keep their audience up on all the, latest information that seems relevant to this world. Joe Rogan talks about all sorts of shit that's hardly even relevant at all. This stuff just adds up day after day. And we know the real reason Joe Rogan can't talk about this is because he's a puppet on strings. It was like 2015 that he brought up gematria on his show, and I know we had an impact on that because we'd been at it for 2 years when he did. I think he had Roseanne Barr on. But that's in the headlines. I also want to talk about the Supreme Court upholding the Texas abortion ban after 6 weeks on the day of the 666 new laws, where 666 is the number of the beast, the number of a man, Man's made on the sixth day in the Bible. God regrets making man in Genesis 6:6. John Roberts is 66 right now, the leader of the court. They're making a big deal about this 5-4 decision that John Roberts was on the minority side of, siding with the liberals and not the conservatives on the court. They said this decision was made at 11:58 p.m. on Wednesday, September 1st. And again, if you're new here, you probably don't recognize those numbers, but if you're a veteran, you know why the decision was made at the 58th minute. Again, numbers of the societies that run the federal government. But with regards to the 5-4 decision, 5-4, the biggest entity running the whole show is the Jesuit order, who serve the Catholic Church like John Roberts is Catholic, like the Supreme Court's all Catholic and all Jewish, just like the Jesuits. But John Roberts in Gematria, the most pure cipher, 54, like Jesuit order, like John Carroll, who established Jesuit Georgetown in D.C. in 1789 at age 54. And notice how John Roberts in Jesuit order, 144.54, also 153 when you run the alphabetic order in reverse. John Roberts also 63 like John Carroll, who established Georgetown. But keep in mind, mark of the beast, 666, is 144 and 54, right? And you just had this ritual in Texas. You just had the ritual in Texas, September 1st, with the 666 new laws. And that was done by the 87th legislature. Number of the beast equals 66, like John Roberts' current age. 87 in reverse. Texas is 66, right? And then this ends up with the Supreme Court having to weigh in that same day, just before the stroke of midnight. And the other thing was September 1st, the day leaving 121 days left in the year. Revelation 121, the concluding book of the Bible, where 666, the number of the beast, is discussed in Revelation 13:18. So, John Roberts, he's just another sure sign of who runs the show there in D.C., the Jesuit order, who's been there longer than the federal government, who orchestrates these rituals by a biblical code because the Jesuits are Catholic Bible, self-explanatory. Also notice that his full name, John Glover Roberts Jr., is 251, the 54th prime number. And from his January 27th, 66th birthday to, September 1st would have been his 218th day of his age. Today, September 2nd, the day of the story, 2 minutes after their decision. September 2nd is 218 days after his birthday. Yesterday was his 218th day of his age. Today's 218 days after his birthday. But Holy Roman Empire is 218. And again, they say the Holy Roman Empire ended August 6th, 1806, the 218th day of the year. But notice, it was carried on with the Jesuits and the Vatican. And no doubt it's alive and well in D.C. A lot of Roman Catholics in D.C. And with regards to 666, I want to point something else out about the weather warfare in New York City. What was it, back in March or April, we circled September 2nd for weather warfare. Early hours of September 2nd, a state of emergency declared in New York. I'll show you why in a minute, why September 2nd is one of the dates we had circled. But remember, they said this storm made landfall at 12:54 p.m. local. Hurricane Ida, when it made landfall on the anniversary of Katrina. 12:54 local, that's leaving 666 minutes left in the day. And in Gematria, New York and Hurricane Ida are both 666, right? And ultimately, this storm's done its greatest devastation. Well, I don't know about that. I guess its greatest devastation is definitely in Louisiana, but, it's finishing with a bang in New York. And again, all of this destruction makes it so the governments need to go get loans from banks, which is profit for the banks. And as they say, all wars are bankers' wars, including weather warfare. Again, first admitted to in 1952, August 15th, the Jesuit order's birthday. Last year, August 15th, the Bay Area burned up on that day with unprecedented lightning. And then 44 days later, the Lightning won the Stanley Cup in Tampa after Tom Brady went down there, who's from the Bay Area. And as we'll talk about in a moment, this year, the Lightning won the Stanley Cup again. Lightning equals 44 in Gematria. Last year, they won the Stanley Cup 44 days after the Bay Area burned up. This year, they win it while Tom Brady's age 44, and the day they win it, the hurricane passes over Tampa as they get their 52nd win of the season. September 2nd had 52-date numerology. Hurricane, flood, earth all have the gematria of 52. But this 666 thing is interesting as well. Because again, all this stuff is biblical. And speaking of biblical, what's more biblical than the flood? Maybe 666. But again, 12:54 p.m., the time it made landfall, and fits right in with the gematria. And remember, they made a big deal about Tropical Storm Ida on August 27th, the anniversary of Harvey flooding Texas. Tropical Storm Ida 239, the 52nd prime. They hype it on the 239th day of the year. Then on the 52-date numerology, that's when the state of emergency declared in New York. And again, 239 is the 52nd prime, Hurricane 52, Flood, Earth, Enlil 52, September 2nd, 2021, 9 plus 2 plus 20 plus 21, 52. They waited till around 1 in the morning New York time to declare the state of emergency. We talked about that late last night. We were online when that happened. And also, again, Jesus Walks, Kanye West released his Donda album on this same day. The same Kanye West who made a name for himself with Katrina, because on live TV he said George Bush doesn't care about black people, and everyone who didn't know his name yet knew it after that. But remember, Genesis 8:3 is where the biblical flood ends. New Orleans, Louisiana 83, which got wrecked by Katrina, and Ida hits on the anniversary. He puts out the album for his mother, like Mother Nature, like a mother breaks water when she brings in her child, storms breaking water. But Mother 83, and the day the storm hit was Kanye West's 83rd day of his age. And we talked about this before we had the track list for the album. Now the track list is out for the album, and would you believe it? The 5th song on this album is called Hurricane. You know what I mean? The 5th song is called Hurricane. So Hurricane Ida's got the 78. So does New York, where Sunday and Jesuit equals 78. New York equals 78 in that same cipher. So Hurricane Ida has that other connection with New York as well. And again, water, Ida, both 67, bringing a lot of water, a lot of flooding. With regards to the whole 83 thing and the parallel with Harvey and everything, I should mention that Harvey had that 83 as well. Harvey had the 83 in it also. And this part of the stream I just want to do for The Matrix. He had a video up this morning, saying, is the FBI setting up Rise of the Moors? I think there's probably a lot of things, like movements that people try to start, and then if the government sees how they can use it for their divisive agenda, they'll infiltrate and, set them up for a thing like this. I think it's entirely possible, but look at this. This news, it did not break on July 6th. Some smaller sources talked about it, but a lot of the news media first covered this story on July 6th. Rise of the Moors, members arrested on I-95. It happened days before this. But if you look for this story, you'll see the majority of articles were posted July 6th and some July 7th, and you'll find some smaller sources that posted it days earlier. But look at this. The reason the majority of the media went with it on 7-6, Rise of the Moors 76, right? Slave, Negro, Blues 76, Barack Obama 76, his new book, A Promised Land 76, Acts 76. About 400 years of slavery. That's the 44th book of the Bible. Obama, number 44, put out his book, A Promised Land, on the day leaving 44 days left in the year, November 17th last year. The Million Man March on the day leaving 76 days left in the year, October 16th, 95, right? Now we got these guys on I-95. Who runs the federal government? The Jesuits. The Jesuits were created to counter the 95 Theses and recognized by Rome on the day leaving 95 days left in the year. Notice Rise of the Moors, the gematria. It's got the 77 in it as well. Most of the news stories about this broke 7-6, some on 7-7. Talking about the 44 connection, Acts 7-6 in the 44th book of the Bible. 193 is the 44th prime. Secret Societies 185 and 77. I mean, lots coded into that name, really. But the thing about July 6th and the Jesuits is it's also the 187th day of the year, and Society of Jesus is 187, the official name of the Jesuits. So the reason I have Rockefeller up there in Washington, D.C. and Paris, France, again, the Jesuits strong in the federal city. The Jesuits are from Paris, France. And then the Rockefellers, they're strong in the federal city too. And again, we recently discovered that their original, the Rockefellers, their company, Standard Oil, in 1870, in their logo, you got the Catholic cross, the burning heart, and you have Society of Jesus in Latin. I mean, and remember, the Rockefellers, coming up on September 11th, there'd never be a World Trade Center building without the Rockefellers. They spearheaded that project. Jay-Z, with his Rockefeller Records, he put out the blueprint September 11th, 2001. You get it? Again, Kanye, The Storm, Jay-Z, 9/11, ends in Paris, where the Jesuits are from. Yeah, I just, it's just so sick, you guys, man. It's just so sick how all this is going on. We're dead on. We figured it out. We know who's responsible. And the thing is, it's just like, without the masses getting behind this, we're not going to get the results we want to see in the world. And we should have them, man. Put out here on this channel is more convincing than anything out there, Day after day, just the same damn stuff. I mean, literally, watch the live stream I did for football today before this news broke. Watch me talk about 53 in football. Watch me talk about Mobile, Alabama. It's just on my mind because it's everywhere this year. And then this happens hours later in the day. It's like, you got to be kidding me, man. We got these people so figured out. We got them so figured out, True Seeker. He wore number 52. Super Bowl 56 will be the 52nd of the modern era. And again, just 52. But the Lightning just won the Stanley Cup on the day that the Hurricane passed over Tampa, getting their 52nd win of the shortened season. The 56-game season, right? Remember? Hurricane equals 52 and 56, right? The 56-game season ends with the Lightning's 52nd win, winning the Stanley Cup the day the Hurricane passes over. Should remind you of the Astros winning the World Series when Matt Harvey was the first pitcher to pitch in Houston after the flooding of Harvey, 52 days before the start of the World Series. The Astros won it in their 56th season. And again, we called it all out why the Astros would beat the Dodgers, and for being correct about it and exposing the same code, so many times, Vice News wrote this article making fun of my work on rigged sports, rigged weather, and all being done by the Code of 52. And again, I mean, just shining example after shining example. So, yeah, go back and look. The day the Lightning won the Stanley Cup this year, back-to-back after Brady comes into town. And go back and look at last year, too. They won it 44. We had them pegged for what day they're gonna why they'd win it 44 days after Tom Brady's Bay Area burned up on the Jesuit birthday. We saw that last year. Lightning 44, and then boom, the year he's 44, the Lightning win it again. Sure, the Super Bowl is going to be on the 44th day of the year. February 13th, 213 in the LA area code. We'll see. We'll see what they got. All right, True Seeker, we'll leave it there for now. I told Sweet Lady I'd spend some time with her tonight, so we'll keep it short and sweet. And thank you to everyone who continues to stick around and support the work and share the work. I know I ran off a lot of people the last few months, but yeah, maybe some house cleaning was in order. So we'll leave it there for now, you guys. Have a good night, and until next time.